Hello, my dear children. Welcome back. So let's continue with what we were doing in the last class. In the last class of photoelectric effect, the last topic we studied was stopping potential. Well, we have already studied that stopping potential or cutoff potential is the minimum negative potential of the plate for which the photoelectric current becomes zero for the first time. What is the significance of this stopping potential? Well, the significance of stopping potential is that it helps us know maximum kinetic energy of photoelectron. Yeah, very important, children. The significance of stopping potential is that it is measure of maximum kinetic energy of photoelectrons. So how is this measure of maximum kinetic energy of photoelectrons? Let us understand that. Well, this is IV characteristic curve of photocell and this is the stopping potential. And if we make the potential even more negative, say minus V1, minus V2, the current in the circuit remains zero. So what is happening at stopping potential? See, this is your photoelectric surface, this is plate. If the potential of the plate is minus Vs, what happens? The electrons which come out from the surface, they approach towards the plate, but they are just not able to reach the surface. The electrons, they move like this towards this negative plate, that is plate, and its kinetic energy decreases continuously because of the electrostatic force of repulsion exerted by this negative plate. And when the electron is just about reaching the plate, its kinetic energy becomes what? Zero. And once kinetic energy becomes zero, the electron retraces its path. So electron come out with certain kinetic energy here. The electron when comes out has maximum kinetic energy. But as it is moving towards this plate which has negative potential, its kinetic energy decreases, and just becomes zero. It becomes zero when it is just about reaching the plate. Just when it is about reaching the plate, its kinetic energy becomes zero. And thereafter what happens? It starts moving backward. It starts retracing its path. So this is what is happening at stopping potential. Electron is able to cover the whole of this distance. So potential difference between the plate is what? Vs, that is stopping potential. According to kinetic energy work theorem, net change in kinetic energy is equal to work done against field. And what is work done against an electric field? That is charge into potential difference. So what is change of kinetic energy? Kinetic energy of electron when it comes out of this surface is maximum K. When it is just about reaching the plate, it becomes zero. The change in kinetic energy is what? K minus zero is what? K. And what is that equal to? Work done against field. Work done against field is what? The product of charge and the potential difference the charge moves across. The charge is what? The charge of electron. And the potential difference it moves across is what? The potential difference between surface and the plate. And what is that? That is what is stopping potential. So that's how we get to know the kinetic energy of electron, maximum kinetic energy of electron. If the potential is more than stopping potential, say minus V1, minus V2, then what happens? The electron at say minus V1 starts its motion like this and it returns like this from somewhere midway. It is when the potential is what? This much. And the negative potential is further increased, then what happens? Electron returns like this. This is minus V2. So as the negative potential goes on increasing, the electron with maximum kinetic energy, they travel and retrace their path like this. They do not cover the whole distance. But at stopping potential, electron covers the whole distance, and as the result, we are able to measure its maximum kinetic energy. So children, let us know the properties of photoelectric effect. Property number 1, photoelectric effect is 1-to-1 effect. Very, very important. What is the meaning? What is the meaning of the fact that photoelectric effect is 1-to-1 effect? Well, it simply means a photon incident over a photosensitive surface causes emission of an electron only. So as many number of photons are falling over the surface, same number of electrons are emitted from the surface, whatever may be the energy of the incident photon. So number of photons falling over the surface is same as number of electrons coming out of the surface, provided the energies of photon is greater than work function. So whatever may be the energy of photons, always one photon will cause the emission of one electron. That is why it is what? 1-to-1 effect. Well, if intensity of light is more, intensity of light is proportional to number of photons in the light. If the intensity of light is more number of electrons would be emitted out of a photoelectric surface. If the intensity of light is less, that is number of photons are less, then lesser number of electrons are emitted from the surface. Well, it is simply because it is 1-to-1 effect. The second property is it is instantaneous effect. This simply means the moment light falls, then and there electrons are emitted. There is no time lag between the instant when the light falls over the surface and when the electrons are given out from the surface. The moment the light falls over a photoelectric surface, then and there or instantaneously, right at the same instant, the electrons are given out. It is not like phosphorescence or fluorescence you have studied, where what? The light falls, phosphorescence especially. Well, when the light falls, the light is emitted back by the phosphorescence material. The material showing the phosphorescence is emitted after a time gap. That gap may be what? In seconds, in minutes, in hours, in days, or even in months, or at times in years. So there is no gap between the time when the light falls and when the electrons are emitted out. So effect is instantaneous, very obvious from the name itself. Well, there are two laws of photoelectric effect, very important. These laws were given by Lenard. Lenard is the name of the scientist who gave these laws. And see how I have written these laws here. I have written these laws just to make sure that all these laws get stuck to your mind forever. But remember, you won't have to write these laws the way they are written here. They are written so that you are able to write it with maximum comfort. And what is this? First law. In first law, you can see right hand side we have intensity, frequency. Even in second law, we have right hand side intensity and frequency. See, the right hand side, the terms are same in both the laws. But in the first law, left hand side is what? IP. IP is plate current, you all know. And in second law, left hand side is what? K, the kinetic energy. K, the kinetic energy of emitted electron. Okay, so what is first law? According to first law, plate current is directly proportional to intensity of light and is independent of frequency of light. According to first law, plate current is directly proportional to intensity of incident light and is independent of frequency of light. We have written 0 here. Any number to the power 0 is what? 1. So plate current is directly proportional to intensity and is independent of the frequency of incident light. That is law number 1. Second law, kinetic energy. Kinetic energy of photoelectron is directly proportional to frequency and is independent of intensity of the light. This is second law. And you know, one of the Einstein's photoelectric equation is what? K is equal to h nu minus nu naught. So what is this? As we increase the frequency, the kinetic energy increases, or kinetic energy is directly proportional to nu minus nu naught. It is directly proportional to frequency. and it has nothing to do with intensity. Plate current is directly proportional to intensity. It has nothing to do with frequency, power 0, and kinetic energy has nothing to do with intensity. So I hope you have understood, and you have to write down the statements which I am speaking. Not you may write it like this so that you are able to recollect the statement, but ultimately you have to write down this whole statement. Plate current is directly proportional to intensity and is independent of the frequency of incident light. That is law number 1. Kinetic energy of emitted electrons is directly proportional to frequency of incident light and is independent of its intensity. Well, the next topic which I am going to take up, where light in photoelectric effect, is also the last topic of the chapter, and that is determination of Planck constant. How do we find out the value of Planck constant using photoelectric effect? So what do we do, children? Well, we already know how do we draw a photoelectric curve. We take a photocell, we make the light whose energy is greater than threshold energy fall upon the photocell, and then we plot a graph between plate voltage and current, and we get a curve which we have already drawn there. So what do? We take a photocell and we draw the circuit to study the characteristic curve of the photocell, and for different frequencies we find out different stopping potentials. For different frequencies we find out different stopping potentials. So for different frequencies we find out different stopping potentials using a photocell. Say these frequencies are nu1, nu2, nu3 and so on, and corresponding stopping potentials are what? Vs1, Vs2, Vs3 and so on. What do? We plot a graph between stopping potential and frequency, and when we plot a graph, well, we get a graph like this. This is stopping potential axis Vs, and this is your frequency axis. These are the frequencies. Say this is nu1, this is frequency say nu2, and this is frequency say nu3. For different frequencies we have what? Different stopping potentials. So we just plot these points over the graph. So these are the 3 points or 4 points we get. We join all these points. When we join all these points and we extrapolate the line, we join these points, we get a straight line, and with this extra line, this straight line is extrapolated. It cuts this frequency axis here, and it cuts here with an intercept of minus h upon e times nu naught. So why is this graph a straight line? Why is the graph between stopping potential and frequency is a straight line? Well, we know this is Einstein's photoelectric equation. H nu minus nu naught is equal to E into Vs, that is stopping potential. So E into Vs is H nu minus H nu naught. What is Vs then? H upon E times nu minus H upon E times nu naught. See, we have taken this stopping potential over y-axis, and we have taken this frequency over x-axis. This simply means what? Y is equal to mx plus c. This m, which is the slope of the straight line, m is the slope of the straight line, and this is h upon e, the slope of the straight line, which we are going to get. So y is first order function of x straight line, stopping potential is first order function of frequency. It has to be a straight line, and if we compare the two, what is the slope of the straight line? H upon e is m, the slope of the straight line. And what is the intercept over y-axis? This is the intercept over y-axis. This is the intercept over y-axis, and what is that? H upon e times nu naught. So C, the intercept over y-axis is what? See, H upon e times nu naught. And what is this intercept over frequency axis? If we write this stopping potential 0, we get frequency as what? If we write Vs as 0, what do we get? We get nu is equal to nu naught, right from here. So this is intercept nu naught. And what is the slope of the straight line? The slope of the straight line is h upon e. So after making this graph, we mark 2 points over this line of best fit. Over this line we plot 2 points, we mark 2 points and read the position coordinates of these points. Position coordinates of these points over x-axis as well as y-axis. Over y-axis, these position coordinates are what? y2 and y1. And over x-axis, these position coordinates are what? x2 and x1. So what is the slope of the straight line? Slope of the straight line is going to be what? y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. And we have just understood that the slope of the straight line is what? Slope of the straight line is nothing but, m. And what is that m? M is nothing but h upon e. The slope of the straight line is h upon e. So if we multiply this slope, which we have found out experimentally, with e, the elementary charge, what do we get? We get Planck constant. So that's how we are able to find out the Planck constant using a photoelectric effect. So children, before we wind up the class, let us see a conversion formula. This conversion formula is very, very important formula, and it is used in almost every numerical of photoelectric effect. And with the help of this conversion formula, we can convert the energy of photon into its wavelength, or wavelength of light into the energy of photon. So this conversion can be done using Planck's hypothesis. According to Planck's hypothesis, energy of photon is what? hc upon lambda. If we substitute the value of h here, which is 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34, the speed of light, that is 3 into 10 to the power 8, and we write down the wavelength. If we write down the wavelength in angstrom, in that case we have to multiply it by 10 to the power minus 10 also, 10 to the power minus 10. So this is energy. This energy is still in joule, and we know that 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule. That means 1 joule is going to be what? 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. 1 joule is equal to 1 joule is equal to 1 upon 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 electron volt. So if we divide this whole equation by what? If we divide the right hand side with what? This is 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34, 3 into 10 to the power 8, 10 to the power minus 10, and if we divide this also by what? 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, this whole quantity is converted into what? Electron volt. And remember, this wavelength here is what? In angstrom. So what do we get? If we solve this, what do we get? What do we get is this: E is equal to 12375 upon wavelength in angstrom. Remember, energy is in electron volt. So energy of photon in electron volt is equal to, energy of photon in electron volt is equal to 12375 upon wavelength in angstrom, or wavelength in angstrom is what? 12375 upon energy in electron volt. So we can convert using this relation energy into wavelength and wavelength into energy very quickly in no time. Otherwise we'll have to work out all these steps. So you can skip all these steps and straightway use this formula. And what is the formula? E, the energy of photon in electron volt, is equal to 12375 upon wavelength in angstrom, or wavelength in angstrom is equal to 12375 upon energy E of photon in electron volt. But remember, energy is always in electron volt, and the wavelength would always be in angstrom. So this formula is going to help you long way as far as numerical of this particular chapter is concerned. So children, with this we come to the end of today's class. Thank you very much. God bless you all.